Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is $60 and I don't know why. For anyone who doesn't know, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is a remaster of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, originally on the 3DS. Now this game is a sequel to the first Luigi's Mansion, which was a great game, and I think Dark Moon is also an amazing game. In fact, it's one of my most nostalgic and favorite games on the 3DS. Now the problem is the fact that this is a remaster that costs $60. Now for anyone who doesn't really know the difference between a remake and a remaster, let me explain. So after a really popular game has been out for a while, people tend to want to revisit that. And while that sometimes can come just by replaying the game, a lot of people also want to replay some of their old favorites in better graphics and have a lot of new features in it. And that's where remasters and remakes come into play. Now, a remake is taking the foundation of a game, so the story and the gameplay, that's all the same. But the difference between a remake and a remaster is how much new content is added. Now, there's actually a perfect example coming out just next week actually, which is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door for the Switch. Now, this game specifically is considered a remake, and I am really looking forward to it, but it is also $60. Am I super happy about it? No, but I am okay with it, and I am gonna get the game. Now, the reason this is called a remake is because there is a bunch of new content. It's not just, oh, we just upscale the graphics and put it on the console, like basically how you would do with an emulator. Now a remaster, on the other hand, is a game like Pikmin 1 and 2. These aren't full remakes of the game, but this is taking the older versions and, again, upscaling them like an emulator would. And this is why there's always such a controversy when a company like Nintendo will release Pikmin 1 and 2 or now Luigi's Mansion 2 HD and price it at such a high amount when you can literally go on the internet and play these games for free very easily through emulators. And yes, typically you can upscale these games just like Nintendo does. Now, how does Nintendo keep getting away with pricing games like this? Well, at the end of the day, there is a new generation of gamers that are buying these games that haven't played the originals. That's just how it is. So honestly, you can't really blame Nintendo for pricing them this high. I mean, I guess that's just what makes them the most money. But the problem is, I really like Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. And it sucks that in order to play the remaster of it, I have to dish out $60, the same price as some of the best new games on the market right now. If they dropped a Luigi's Mansion 4 on the Switch, it would be the same price as a remaster of Dark Moon, which came out like a decade ago. And that right there is the main reason why I'm so frustrated about this game specifically. This game is nostalgic for a ton of people. Look, myself and many others have grown up with the 3DS and games like Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, but we don't want to spend so much on it. I feel like the core fans of this series would mostly be okay with pirating it. And I don't like to use that term very often, but that's just the reality of what people are doing. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that things like pirating and emulation are getting more and more popular when Nintendo keeps doing things like this. I don't know if their sales are actually getting affected or not by this whole emulation stuff, but I feel like it should. I feel like this has to happen to Nintendo if we really want change. It feels wrong wishing bad things to happen on the business of Nintendo because they made games that I grew up with. They made games that I still reference to this day. I mean, half of my channel's videos, maybe even more, are about Nintendo games. So I obviously love the company, but when they do things like this, it just feels like I'm in an abusive relationship, and I'm only in this because of the history I have with the company. You know, recently I've been taking a step back from Nintendo games and experimenting more with indie stuff and whatnot, and I just notice, man, I really hate having to spend so much money on games. And look, I know games are expensive to make, it's true, but remastering Luigi's Mansion 2 is not $60 worth of a game. It's just not. If you're telling me that a game like Elden Ring, one of the best games ever made in my opinion, is going to cost the same amount as Luigi's Mansion 2, I just can't believe it. And quite frankly, I think the only way Nintendo ever changes their ways about this is if we actually start voting with our dollar. But the problem is, I don't think there's enough people out there who are going to actually do that to make a significant difference to Nintendo's profit margins. There are just way too many kids out there who ask their parents to buy the new Luigi's Mansion game, even though it's not new, and you know, they do it, and there's nothing we as the older fans can do anything about it. Now, I know I've been really negative throughout this video, but honestly, I really like how this game looks. Look, it's not amazing. It's not a perfect overhaul of the graphics. I don't know. I feel like a lot more people would end up buying this game if it were cheaper, but Nintendo's firm on 60 for this one, and you know, that's not going to change anytime soon. And you know, this year, they don't really have any other games coming out besides Thousand Year Door and Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. So I guess that's probably also a reason why they're charging 60. I don't agree with it, and I think it should stop. I think $60 and $70 is a price that should be reserved for new modern games. If you're gonna charge 60, you gotta give me a good reason to. Even amazing remakes, like I'm sure Thousand Year Door is gonna be, I don't know, I feel like that should be more in the 50s. I don't like to see 60 at all. But hey, that's just the situation. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm sure there's gonna be a little bit of debating down there, but that's my opinion. Now, if you did like this video, please press the like button. It helps me out so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.